On June 10, 2025, Tulsi Gabbard, now serving as the Director of National Intelligence, released a somber and urgent video message from Hiroshima, Japan. Standing before the haunting ruins of the Genbaku Dome, a symbol of the devastation wrought by nuclear war, Gabbard addressed not only the American public but the world at large. Her message was clear and chilling. The threat of nuclear catastrophe was no longer a distant possibility, but an imminent danger that demanded immediate attention. In her address, Gabbard warned of an escalating nuclear crisis, citing credible intelligence of an imminent threat. The world, she said, was teetering on the edge of disaster, with the specter of nuclear war looming larger than ever before. The warning was not abstract or hypothetical. It was a direct response to mounting tensions and a rapidly deteriorating global situation. Gabbard did not mince words. She openly accused political elites and world leaders of recklessly escalating tensions, prioritizing power and posturing over the safety and survival of humanity. Their actions, she argued, were pushing the world toward an unwinnable conflict, one that would leave no true victors, only devastation and loss on a scale never before seen. Refusing to rely on traditional media channels, Gabbard chose to speak directly to the people. Her raw, unfiltered video was shared across social media platforms, bypassing the usual gatekeepers and reaching millions within hours. She urged citizens everywhere to wake up to the reality of the nuclear threat, to see past the noise and propaganda, and to recognize the grave danger facing humanity. To drive home the urgency, Gabbard included a harrowing simulation, a nuclear attack on San Francisco. The chilling visuals depicted the immediate and catastrophic impact such an event would have, not just on one city, but on the entire world. The simulation was designed to shatter any lingering complacency, forcing viewers to confront the horrifying consequences of inaction. The message was unmistakable. The danger was not theoretical but real and immediate. Gabbard emphasized that time was running out and that every second counted. The world was at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming days would determine the fate of millions. In her call to action, Gabbard implored ordinary people to rise above fear and apathy. She called for a massive public mobilization, urging citizens to demand diplomacy, dialogue, and de-escalation from their leaders. Only through collective action, she insisted, could the tide be turned and the world pulled back from the brink. Filming her message in Hiroshima was no accident. Gabbard drew a direct line between the horrors of the past and the perils of the present, reminding viewers of the unimaginable suffering caused by nuclear weapons. She urged everyone to learn from history, to honor the memory of those lost, and to choose a path of peace before it was too late. Ultimately, Gabbard insisted, the responsibility for change did not rest solely with governments or leaders. It lay with the people, the citizens of every nation, who had the power to demand a different future. She called on everyone to take action, to speak out, and to refuse to accept the inevitability of war. Her video was more than just a warning. It was a rallying cry, a plea for unity and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Gabbard's words resonated across continents, sparking conversations, debates, and a renewed sense of urgency. Gabbard's plea was unmistakable. Act now, stand together, and demand peace, before catastrophe becomes our only legacy. Just 1 week after Tulsi Gabbard released her video challenging the prevailing narrative, President Trump took to the public stage to directly contradict her statements regarding Iran's nuclear intentions. The world watched as the president, surrounded by reporters and flashing cameras, made his position unmistakably clear. Trump dismissed Gabbard's testimony, which argued that Iran was not actively seeking nuclear weapons. Instead, he insisted that Iran was, in his words, dangerously close to acquiring a nuclear bomb, a claim that sent shockwaves through both Washington and international capitals. This public disagreement exposed a deep and growing rift within the administration, revealing not just a difference of opinion, but a fundamental clash over how to interpret intelligence and respond to global threats. Trump's perspective was rooted in reports about Iran's expanding stockpile of enriched uranium. For him and his advisors, the increasing levels of enrichment were clear indicators of a covert weapons program, despite the lack of direct evidence of weaponization. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, had recently reported that Iran's uranium enrichment was approaching weapons-grade levels. This development alarmed not only American hawks, but also key U.S. allies in Europe and the Middle East, who feared a new nuclear crisis was on the horizon. Yet, Gabbard stood firm. She pointed out that while Iran's enrichment activities were concerning, there was no concrete evidence that the Iranian leadership had made a decision to pursue actual weaponization. For her, this distinction was crucial, as it left open the door for negotiation and diplomacy. The split between Trump and Gabbard underscored the broader tensions simmering within the administration. Advisors and officials were divided, not just over Iran, but over the very direction of American foreign policy. Should the U.S. double down on confrontation or seek a path of engagement? Gabbard's anti-interventionist stance put her at odds with Trump's more hawkish advisors, such as John Bolton, who advocated for a tougher approach and even hinted at possible military action. This debate was far from academic. The outcome would shape not only America's immediate response to Iran, but also the broader trajectory of U.S. foreign policy for years to come. The question of Iran's nuclear ambitions carried profound implications for U.S. strategy in the Middle East, affecting military planning, alliances, and the global balance of power. With the world's eyes fixed on Washington and Tehran, the stakes could not have been higher. The decisions made in these tense moments would reverberate far beyond the region, shaping the course of international relations and the prospects for peace or conflict on a global scale. The disagreement between Trump and Gabbard escalated into military action. On June 22, Trump ordered strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. The strikes aimed to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Influenced by hawkish advisors, Trump chose a confrontational approach. The strikes were precise, targeting key sites in Iran's nuclear program. Despite risks, the administration hoped force would deter Iran. Surprisingly, Gabbard publicly supported the strikes, aligning with Trump. Her support suggested a united front, despite earlier opposition. After the strikes, Gabbard sought to align with Trump. She clarified her stance, emphasizing agreement on Iran's nuclear threat. Gabbard's statement aimed to bridge her testimony with Trump's rhetoric. Her spokesperson stressed shared goals of peace and security. Gabbard's alignment highlighted her pragmatic approach within the administration. Tulsi Gabbard's appointment as Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence is one of the most unexpected turns in recent American political history. Once seen as an outsider within her own party, Gabbard's rise to such a prominent role in a Republican administration has left many observers both surprised and intrigued. Her journey is a testament to the shifting sands of American politics, where former adversaries can become allies almost overnight. Gabbard began her national career as a Democratic congresswoman from Hawaii, quickly gaining attention for her willingness to challenge the status quo. She was outspoken in her criticism of U.S. foreign policy, particularly the country's involvement in endless wars and military interventions abroad. Her anti-interventionist stance set her apart from many of her Democratic colleagues, earning her both praise and criticism from across the political spectrum. Over the years, Gabbard's relationship with the Democratic Party grew increasingly strained. She became a vocal critic of party leadership, accusing them of corruption and a lack of transparency. Her willingness to speak out against her own party's establishment made her a controversial figure, but also attracted the attention of those disillusioned with mainstream politics. Gradually, her views began to align more closely with the populist wing of the Republican Party and with Donald Trump himself. In 2024, Gabbard made headlines by endorsing Trump for president, a move that shocked many of her former allies and signaled a dramatic shift in her political identity. Her endorsement was not just symbolic. It marked a clear break from her past and a willingness to embrace a new political future. This bold decision paved the way for her eventual appointment to the Trump administration. As Director of National Intelligence, Gabbard took on the formidable task of overseeing the nation's intelligence agencies. She was determined to reshape the intelligence community, ensuring that its priorities aligned with the Trump administration's agenda. Gabbard was known for her hands-on approach, frequently meeting with intelligence officials and demanding accountability at every level. Her appointment was seen by some as a bold move to bring ideological diversity into the administration, while others viewed it as an attempt to co-opt a former critic of the so-called deep state. Gabbard's presence in the Trump administration sent a clear message. Dissenting voices could be brought into the fold, but only if they were willing to support the president's vision. Gabbard's transformation from an anti-war Democrat to a key figure in the Republican establishment is nothing short of remarkable. Her journey highlights the fluidity of political identities in the modern era, where personal convictions and party loyalty can shift rapidly in response to changing circumstances. In her new role, Gabbard did not shy away from making tough decisions. She revoked security clearances from officials she believed were undermining the administration and dismissed those who openly opposed Trump's policies. These actions were controversial, sparking intense debate about the politicization of intelligence and the proper role of dissent within government agencies. Critics accused Gabbard of using her position to advance Trump's interests at the expense of objective intelligence. News outlets and political analysts debated whether her actions represented necessary reform or dangerous overreach. The controversy surrounding her tenure as DNI became a focal point in discussions about the future of American intelligence. Ultimately, Gabbard's transformation and her role in the Trump administration reflect the unpredictable nature of political alliances in today's America. Her story is a reminder that in the world of politics, yesterday's opponents can become tomorrow's partners, and ideological boundaries are often more porous than they appear. Gabbard's journey from outsider to insider, from critic to key player, stands as a testament to political pragmatism and the ever-changing landscape of American power. The clash between Trump and Gabbard exposed White House tensions. Trump was furious over Gabbard's Hiroshima video, seeing it as a challenge. Discussions arose about restructuring the intelligence community. Gabbard's unsanctioned trip to Hiroshima raised eyebrows. Despite friction, the White House projected unity. Gabbard's political ambitions added complexity to the situation. Her actions suggested strategic moves to build her political brand. U.S. strikes on Iran alarmed the world, raising fears of regional war. The unilateral action was criticized as reckless and destabilizing. Russia warned of a nuclear catastrophe, highlighting geopolitical tensions. European allies urged restraint and diplomacy, wary of military escalation. Middle Eastern nations braced for potential Iranian retaliation. The region feared a cycle of conflict with devastating impacts. The global response underscored the high stakes of U.S. actions. The events of June 2025 have created profound uncertainty. U.S. foreign policy is caught between anti-interventionism and hawkish impulses. The crisis impacts global security and the non-proliferation regime. U.S. strikes could set a precedent for unilateral military action. The future depends on decisions in Washington, Tehran, and beyond. Leaders must choose between de-escalation and confrontation. Gabbard's role will be crucial in navigating this path. Her warning of nuclear annihilation could be a wake-up call. The stakes are high for America and global security.